This video is an announcement of my special 2-hour live webinar training on public speaking, plus a very special no more stuttering and/or cluttering lesson. For anyone who wants more confidence, money, influence, leadership, impact, knowledge, and success these days, public speaking is the absolute key. I'd call it a success-beating superpower, a super powerful thing that helps one succeed faster. Who am I to give you this or host this webinar? My name is Emily, a passionate 24-year-old who happens to have a bachelor's degree in English for professional purposes, founded an English club at the university, won the first prize in giving impromptu talk at the national level 3 times, trained in public speaking and impromptu talk whenever I was given the chance, and used all of that experience to win scholarships to Japan, the UK, and the US, and now decided to share all of what I learned throughout the journey just because I believe with good intentions that it will all be useful for you to achieve all that's mentioned above. Confidence, money, influence, leadership, impact, knowledge, and success. This fully live webinar training will cover all the essential basics that you need to master the mindset of public speaking, tackling the fear of public speaking, fun interactions, and very special tips for researching your materials, both informative and persuasive speeches, group discussions, impromptu talk, body language, and more, each versatile and can be applied for both big and small public speaking as well as in everyday lives. Yes, what you learn in this public speaking webinar can be applied for success in your everyday lives. I'm packing up all the big and important lessons and secrets that I've learned to solve any and everyone's problems with public speaking. That's such a big claim, but you will find out I mean it if you will truly and correctly join my live webinar. If that's something that you're looking for, no matter if you live in Myanmar or abroad, are 3 or 100 years old, whether if you speak Myanmar or English as your main language, I will try my best to facilitate only Myanmar language attendees. Or if you have even just a little fear or concern about public speaking, this webinar is for you. Enough about its benefits for this video. Find out more and all its details about date, time, and registration fees in the caption. The registration link will be down in the first comment. Stutter. Is anyone here a stutterer? Stuttering means to talk with continued involuntary repetition of sounds, especially initial consonants. It's a childhood onset fluency or speech disorder. It can be fixed by speech language pathologists, SLPs. It has complications with shame, bullying, social anxiety, and fear of public speaking. Stuttering often starts young in people, from ages 2 to 5 years old, and it disappears with age. About 5% of all children are likely to stutter at a point in the development age, and only 1% of adults stutter. I have included this in this video about speech communications as it concerns as a knowledge, and the latter part, cluttering, will be much more in focus. Yes, cluttering will be a much more highlighted part of the video. Before we get there, let's just look at some examples of famous people who stutter and how they overcome it, as maybe all of us can derive some tips from them on how to stop stuttering. Firstly, King George VI, who admits to stutter, was an inspiration to his country during World War II when he gave the Empire speeches. You will have known this from the movie The King's Speech, which highlights about his courage. One of the most popular movie stars of the 1950s and the early 60s, the legendary actress and singer Marilyn Monroe, is also on the list. She stuttered as a child, returned in high school, disappeared, and back in her final days when she was under so much stress. She nevertheless cultivated a very famous and important voice. One of the most popular icons of the 20th century, the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, also stuttered. His stuttering started in elementary school, and he said he stuttered whenever he got excited and had difficulty especially in pronouncing the words like when and where that start with W and with I. The former US Vice President Joe Biden struggled with stuttering throughout his childhood and into his 20s. He never had professional therapy, but as a child he practiced reciting poetry in front of the mirror while monitoring his facial reactions. Nicole Kidman, internationally renowned actress and producer, had a stutter as a kid, which she slowly got over. And last but not least, in this list of examples, someone, might even be your favorite singer/songwriter, Ed Sheeran, dealt with stuttering as a child. He tried a variety of speech therapies, but it was memorizing music that he said helped him effectively remedy his stutter. He highlighted Eminem's songs and said he raps very fast and very melodically and very percussively, and it helped me get rid of the stutter. So rapping to Eminem might cure the stutter, and Eminem raps like this. I'll show you. Hey, I'm also an Eminem's fan, and I want to rap to you one part of his hit Godzilla right now, so please listen. But I don't want to mean any offense, so I will mute all the curse words out. Here I go. Fill them with a venom and let me know that otherwise I'm in a minute. I don't want to have it, but I didn't feel a rage. I'm a and nobody will have it. And fun to kill them at double bodies in the lake, obliterate everything is under eradicate them. I'm making anybody who will panic for it, but don't nobody want it, but they're gonna get it anyway because I'm beginning to feel like I'm mentally I'm a killer, be killed, the killer be the vanilla girl, you be the killer with me, you don't want to be the enemy of the demon, I'll be the receiver enemy, western bit of me, every bit of it is the epitome of a spitter. When I'm in the vicinity, you better duck because you find out be the middle of your enemy, 100% of you is a fifth of a enemy, I'm about to finish. I'm unfadable. You want to bet I'm fadable? I'm blown like an inflatable. I'm unavailable. I'm unavoidable. I'm unavailable. I'm uncontrollable. I got a trail full of money and I'm pitiful. I'm not afraid to pull it. Now, the second more important part that I'm going to highlight that I was talking about cluttering. Using filler words or cluttering is the area we have to be more responsible for improving ourselves through practice. So I mentioned filler words, right? One most common filler word I hear is and the others are okay, so, like, right. And you know, when you clutter, your speech is full of these and If you want to find out if you clutter, just film yourself speaking casually. It'll help you identify your filler word. Mine is so, which I haven't and am still trying hard to get rid of. The problem with filler words is that they don't count as words. I mean, because they don't have or hold any meaning. So they make it hard to understand a particular message. They're signs that your speech is disorganized, or that you're speaking too fast or in spots, or simply you're unsure of what you want to say. In public speaking and all other types of speech communication, cluttering is a loud signal that your speech is disorganized, unreliable, and unintelligible. It may also mean that you're not confident and that you can't speak well in general. For example, if you're listening to something and only when you've started to make some sense or meaning of that, a filler word cuts in and disturbs your meaningful thought in your brain. So filler words are useless for learning in our brains. Our brains don't register them as words, so only our mouths have to agree. How? Let's get some tips. Let's look at some ways to stop cluttering. Whenever you hear yourself say a filler word, backtrack and replace it with the one you actually mean to say, or repeat the last couple words without the filler word. For example, if I said, I'm going to, so dem, I'm going to immediately correct it without the filler word this time, so I'm going to demonstrate. It's important to understand why we clutter. It just might be because we're speaking too fast. We can speak fast, but we have to speak clearly. Speaking too fast can make our speech difficult to understand, and comes with more chance of cluttering. There is a great tip which for me is the best. It is to pause instead. Instead of using the filler word or cluttering, just pause, as it sounds natural. And pauses are not as long in real life as we think they are in our heads and our opinions. They sound natural, and they'll actually, especially in formal settings, help us get our meanings across more. And pauses can make people understand our messages better. So just pause instead. Another tip is to just face your fears straight on and go practice in a formal setting. But you have to do it without memorizing a whole script word by word. It can be detrimental. And it's because if you memorize the script, you are going to remember the script in a very strict and certain order. So as soon as you forget something, it's very likely that you will. You are going to be lost about where to start again, and you're going to get really bothered and confused, and that's when you start to do your ums and uhs. So you should just know your speech well without memorizing it. Now, to give you a summarized most helpful logic, listen to me. Filler words are pause marks. Your pauses due to unpreparedness, blocked thoughts, or even incredibility will be much less distracting or noticeable without them. For both stuttering and cluttering, the logic behind people's being against them is that they were acceptable as a child when we were gathering and practicing new vocabulary and grammar to get to a fluency level. But past that stage, they shouldn't happen anymore. Stuttering may need medical therapy, but cluttering just needs practice. So you have to know and remember that you have enough vocabularies like connectors and prepositions to replace the fillers. Because, for example, if you use a filler word always at the end of every sentence, before another sentence, to connect the two sentences, it'll be much better to use a connector like and or but or instead of the meaningless ums and us. Now that we have an understanding of filler words and their nature, it would be much better to do without them. So be confident that we can do without them, as we don't need them when we have enough vocabularies, yes we do, to get our meanings across. So we all should firmly believe that we don't need them. And adding again, it's much better to pause instead. Like mentioned, both stuttering and cluttering can be caused by shame, bullying, social anxiety, and fear of public speaking. My webinar may not be able to fix the first parts on the list, but I promise you, the last part, all your fears of public speaking will be solved out. As its title says, the Public Speaking Mastermind. It focuses on getting you the right mindset ready for public speaking without any fear of it. I really don't want you to miss out on the big highlights applicable for your success every day and in the final long term. Plus special tips that will hit the mark for any and everyone's needs for public speaking. So if you're interested, do study all the information about it in the caption and enroll ASAP to secure your spot. I hope all of this video was useful to you, and I'd really appreciate all your support, likes, comments, and shares on this video, as well as all the other videos on and my page, MC House. Again, I really want you to spread the info about the Public Speaking Mastermind webinar. Please do. All the very best.